Hello and welcome to Hot Track RC. Today we have a team associated RC10T on the workbench. I may not be the first to have this car, but I might be the most excited. I love RC10s, and to have a brand new re-release of the RC10T is just totally awesome. Today we're going to unbox it, and then I'm going to talk about some of the controversies and my take on those, so stick around! Alright, let's see what's inside the box. The UPS man dropped this like 30 seconds before he handed me the package. Right on this corner. So, I think the box was perfect until just before I got it. Let's break out the trusty Spidurko and see how we get on here. Alright. Side one. Crushed side here. Okay. Try not to cut through the box inside. Alright, there it is. And the car appears to be away from that crushed corner, so that would be a real nice bonus. Alright, packing slip for the RC10T. Packing label, and there it is. Alright. Let's see if we can get it out of here. That might be the tricky part. Alright, so. Yeah, it's particularly tricky because that edge of the box is crushed. Okay, it's coming. It's coming. Woo! It's out. Alright. Okay, so starting with the bottom, since that's where we're at. Some nice pictures, vintage stuff of the Losi team and some of the original trucks that they were racing back in the day. Of course, we have the 60th anniversary. Now, some people have commented, hey, it's not 60 years since they built this truck. No, it's 60 years since Associated Electronics started, so that's why it's the 60th. And here is the back side of the box. Nice body off shot with the painted body art body next to the truck. Some dimensions and specs on the truck. And on the front side, we've got a nice full view of the truck as well. Some more text about it. And then the iconic front top of the box. And now this has this embossed nice treatment with the wreaths for celebrating the anniversary. This is a really good looking box. So I'm pretty happy with this. The ends, of course, are full color printed, unlike the way the originals would have been, where they would have had just the model name and the pricing on the sides. But this is a really nice looking box, one that you'd be happy to have in your collection. So, without further ado, let's break the seal. So, this is the iconic factory seal. Number 1. Number 2. And the main seal, which is on the bottom of the front flap. And we will cut that open. Alright, we're open. Okay, let's slide this open. And there it is. Alright, now this is everything that we've got going on here. So what do we see on top? So I see right off the gear cover here and the stealth transmission. So this is the transmission bag. Now, I noticed something interesting about this transmission that I think is pretty cool. This is a real faithful reproduction of the original stealth transmission that would have been run in these cars in the early 90s. The World's Car re-release that came out in 2014 has the V2 slipper clutch and updated transmission. It is quite a bit different. And this one has gone back to the original. For instance, this idler gear, you can see it has a shaft pressed into the middle of the idler gear. And the re-release, the bearings go in the idler gear and the shaft slides through. So quite a bit different. So that's cool. Should we just pull the body out here? I think we shall. So here it is, the original wide body truck. And this one is really cool looking. It has film on the outside, so even though there's some scuffs and things on there, I don't think that'll be a problem. So that'll be awesome to paint up. And okay, wheels and tires. A lot of talk about wheels and tires in this kit, and if you watch the interview with the Team Associated guys, they explain the narrow front tires and that they decided to go with these in this kit to be representative of what was really exciting about this truck when it first hit. And then later, or very soon after that, the narrow front tires were banned from racing because they seem to provide an unfair advantage. Now, I really like the fact that these are 3-piece wheels, that they didn't go to glue-on single-piece. I love the 3-piece wheels. I miss those so much from back in the day. Okay, the performance isn't as good. They're heavier, more rotating mass. But it's so cool to be able to put a wheel together and have the bead and not deal with the glue. So, in the day, these wheels came in the original kit, but they also provided the wide front wheels. And I did find that in the original manual. But interestingly, they did not provide both sets of inner front wheels. You had to choose which wheel you were going to build. They gave you 2 outers because the outer has different offsets, but only 1 set of inners. So they did not actually provide 2 complete sets of wheels back in the day. But they did give you both sets of front tires. But I think Team Associated did the right thing with this. People are nostalgic about the narrow front wheels and tires, and you can always get more wheels and tires, but it's cool to have a complete set. And that it comes with the tires at all, because the 2014 Worlds kit didn't come with tires, just the wheels. And it did not come with the 3-piece front wheels, it only came with single-piece front wheels. So this is pretty cool. I'm really glad that they did this the way it was intended to be originally. Okay, next up, I see the spur gear. This is very true to the original, although in the manual I saw one picture where this gear was black and one picture where it was white. This was a period where Team Associated was moving from white to black on most of their plastic pieces, so it was a real mix at the time. Okay, battery cup. Now, the battery cup in all of the re-releases has just been a single that they provided. I believe that's the case. I have the Classic, I have the World's car, and then the newest 40th anniversary, and this kit and the CC, they all just have 1 battery kit. But the original kits came with 2, so you could put the battery transverse. I don't think anybody's doing that anymore, because the main reason to do that was for the rheostat speed control, and I really doubt anybody is building any of these cars with rheostats. So having the battery front to back, I think is the better way to do it. So that's that. Okay, the bell crank in the T was different than the World's car or any of the other pan cars that I know of to that point. And it has, I believe, a servo saver built into it, unlike the World's car. So this appears to be true to the original T, so that's cool. All right, here are some body mounts, truck style. So those are different from the cars. Okay, so here is suspension, and this is the rear. So we've got here the rear suspension, shock mount here, hardware, long dog bones, and the axle shafts. This is true to the original. It has the stepped axles. Does not have the straight 3/16 axles. They're a little more modern. Here's the bulkhead. So this all looks good. Now, a lot of controversy about the color of the plastics, and I see here the rear hub carrier is a little bit different color. It's a greener color than the other parts that are in this bag. Okay, is that a big deal? It's not a big deal to me. I work in manufacturing, and I can tell you that the color lots on resins for plastics are very inconsistent. They really don't try to control that perfectly. So my guess is one of two things. First of all, it's a different lot of material that was run in the injection mold between this part and these other parts. So either they were made at two different mold houses entirely, and hence they had two different lots of plastic, or they were just run where they ran out of this material that when they made the arms, they switched materials to a new lot, and then they ran the hub carriers and they were a slightly different color. That's just the way it is. So I'm not worried about that. One thing that is different, which I kind of miss, is the pan screws that would have been Phillips head on the old cars has gone to a hex head now, and it's a black color. It's no longer the gold anodized aluminum. I'm kind of sad about that. You know, I mean, you could say Phillips head is really crude, but I liked it. It brings back good memories. So I wish they would have stayed with the same hardware, but, you know, it's a small point. Certainly doesn't ruin my feel for the car at all. I am totally excited. Okay, front suspension arms and kick-up plate, or as the catalog and everything says, nose plate. This is different than the other pan cars that I've had. It's adjustable. It can have a long or a short wheelbase, so that's really cool. We got the long front suspension arms, bulkhead, and all of our hardware. So there we go with that. Front bumper for the truck is something I haven't had before. Okay, shocks. Gold shocks. Well, you know, a lot of the kits, the main kits, would have had the hard anode shocks back in the day because they had moved to that on a lot of their performance kits. They went to the gold in this re-release, and they talk about it in the interviews. You know, they're beautiful. I love the look of these gold shocks. It would have been cool to get the hard anode shocks, and this is a little bit difficult to switch out if you want to do that. They're kind of expensive and hard to find, the originals. So, yeah, you know what? It's fine. But it is a difference to most of the original cars. So that's that, all the shock stuff. Okay, here's something that's been talked about. These are the servo mounts. And I was listening to another video, and they were talking about how somebody had told somebody that originally you had to just servo tape your servo into the RC10T. And I was wondering why that would be, because, you know, all the cars had these servo mounts and there's holes in the pan. Why would they tell you to double-side tape this down? Well, they show it in the old original catalog being on the opposite side of the pan. So the servo is upside down and facing the opposite direction. I think that was to get better alignment between the turnbuckle, between the bell crank and the servo. And there are no holes on that side of the pan, and apparently they didn't decide to drill extra holes. So these wouldn't have worked, and that's my theory on why they didn't offer these at all in the original, and they told you just use servo tape because they thought it was better alignment and just a change with the new bell cranks. That's my theory. Okay, so now we've got some hardware, and we've got the shock installation tool here. And we've got turnbuckles. Okay, so these turnbuckles, you know, pretty similar to the original. I'll have to look. I don't know that the originals had the mark on the one side of the square to show you which was the left-hand thread or not. That's something that they've added to, I think, the re-release of kits. But I'll have to check that to be sure. And here we are, the pan. All right, So it is in a nice bag. They didn't want it to get scratched up. That's nice. All right, this finish, I had heard this. This finish is different than I expected. It's sort of shiny, but also almost crinkly. And it has that really cool laser etched RC10T on it. And it's got the hologram in there, but it does not have a serial number in it. But what's interesting to me is the finish of the pan. Honestly, yeah, I mean, I assume that it's still anodized, but you could almost tell me that it was paint. I don't think so. I think it's anodized, but it's kind of not as smooth a finish. It's quite attractive. I don't have any problem with it, but it's definitely different. Now, also, you hear a lot of guys talking about the edge of the pan. And yeah, it definitely has a pretty pronounced lip on it that the older cars did not have. That's where they're stamping or pressing the aluminum into the form, and it's coming up to this edge and then leaving that. I assume they know that that's happening and it's intentional, but it's a little different than the original, I would say. There is no stamp under the gearbox on this chassis, so that is not there, whether it would have been a C stamp or whatever. But again, this is quite attractive. I'm just sort of nitpicking the differences that I see. Okay, and we're digging down to the bottom here. Here is the manual. I love the fact that they have a manual in this one. And again, there's been some people talking about why they didn't have a manual in the 40th anniversary RC10. Well, I certainly don't know, but really happy that there's an actual manual in the T. And it has the same cover as the original on it, but I know the inside is all CAD images, not pictures like the original. And of course, we got the sticker sheets in here, and the body pins, and the rings, and some servo tape. And that is pretty much it for inside the box. Of course, they have some printing on the inside of the flaps, which is the first I've seen of that. And then, of course, the social media stuff, which is definitely not vintage on this side. And then underneath the front flap, we've got some of the brands of Team Associated, Reedy, Factory Team, AE, and others here, Elements, a newer one. So anyway, closing it back up here, I would say this is a very attractive box. Again, the embossing on the top of the box is really well done. So that's about it. That was a lot of fun. I just really enjoyed that. And one thing I forgot to mention is that this car comes with bronze bushings. It does not come with ball bearings. And that is a cost savings measure that they took. I don't mind that too much because it's super easy to just upgrade to ball bearings. Mine are en route to me as we speak. So I'll have those well before I'm going to actually build this car. I am in the middle of a world's car build right now. So that's likely to be the next thing that I release on the channel. It might be a bit before I get back to the build on this RC10T. Doesn't mean I'm not super excited to do it. Just got a lot of projects going on. So until then, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.